Hi, my name is Soleil and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my July bullet journal with you. So for this month I decided to do a painted theme or painting theme. I used my monthly Sticky Club sticker pack. I always get the vintage stickers, which I'll show you in a moment. And this month's theme was called Painted Earth, and I absolutely loved it, so I decided to make that my July theme. I found some kind of related aesthetic photos on Pinterest and downloaded those onto sticker sheet paper. And yeah, so this month has already been off to a chaotic start. We're already maybe almost halfway through the month, and I just haven't gotten started on this. I had some chaotic recent life events, but we're doing good. We're getting through it, and I'm really glad I took the time today to sit down and do this spread, because it always makes me feel so much better when I have the month all planned out, when I take the time to make something nice for the month and to plan it all out. For the last maybe year or so, I've been keeping my journal spreads pretty simple. I've been doing this like month kind of theme, I guess, for the first page, and doing like collage of these photos that I print out, and stickers and stamps and sometimes washi tape, and like old pages of books or old recycled paper that I use that I get in packages, which is what I used this month. And I just kind of make a collage of all of that together, and that's the style that I've really been enjoying, and that's what it's basically been every single month, and until I grow tired of it, that's the style that I'm going to keep using. So you can see I'm kind of like adding the bits of paper in between all of the different photos. I wanted to do a little bit more layering this time, since I really love that style of different things overlapping and it like really coming together. I really want to get a pack of kind of like that. It's not exactly like scrapbooking paper. It's kind of like junk journal pages of just different kinds of like beautiful pieces of paper that you can kind of really include in your journal spreads, just like how I do here. But I don't know, it'd be cool to have a pack of that kind of paper instead of always printing it out or using the same kind of like recycled paper. I mean, I love the recycled paper, I'm never going to stop that, but like having additional accent papers would be nice. So as I continue kind of putting this spread together, let's talk a little bit about the books that I read, since the other two spreads that I've been continuously doing for the last year or so has been my book spread of read books and to read books, and then my movies and TV spread of everything that I watched the previous month and everything that I'm going to watch in the coming month. So let's talk about some of the books I read. I have read quite a bit more in the last month and a half, which has been really exciting. I feel like I haven't been able to concentrate on reading as much ever since, I was gonna say grad school, but it's been a little bit since undergrad too. So I feel like I'm finally kind of getting back into the swing of things, which is really exciting. I first read God Killer, which is kind of, I think it's a high fantasy technically. It's quite short. It takes place in like a different magical world. It's really a wonderful story, and it's very inclusive and has a lot of different voices and representation in it in this world, and it's like a very queer normative world, so that was lovely to see. Overall, I felt like the world and the story itself was beautiful, but the connecting with some of the characters just took a little bit longer until you knew more of their story. So I gave that one 4 stars. Then I read Son of Blood and Ruin, which, if you want to know all of my thoughts on this book, I have an entire rant review, because I gave this 2 stars. This was a pick for my mythology book club and the Mythologists. And the concept sounded so amazing and such a fascinating idea for this story, and the execution just wasn't there, which is really disappointing. I also read The Age of Magical Overthinking, which I gave 5 stars. It's by Amanda Montell, who also wrote Cultish. Absolutely loved this one. I loved how the book was segmented into different chapters that really focused on different types of magical overthinking in current modern day society. Then I read Dolls of Our Lives, which I gave 3 stars. I think honestly I would have enjoyed it more if I had an American Girl doll when I was younger. I just never really cared for those kinds of dolls. I was more of a My Little Pony, Barbie, My Little Pet Shop kind of kid. And American Girl doll just was never my thing. But all of my friends had them, so I was I lived tangentially to the American Girl doll. So it was an interesting book. I really liked how they brought in other perspectives and other voices into their story to kind of look at how different people connected with the dolls, or rather didn't connect with the dolls. But I mean, I never really connected that much with American Girl doll to begin with, so And then I read A Man's World, which is a Formula One romance that I read with my Formula One romance book club. I gave it 3 stars. Overall, it was just a little too long, but it was awesome to read a Formula One romance. And then I plan to read, or I'm currently reading, Witch King by Martha Wells, Gods of Jade and Shadow by Silvia Moreno Garcia, and Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. I'm loving all 3 of those right now. And I also plan on reading the latest 2 volumes of The Adventure Zone. Now on to movies and television. So I watched quite a bit in the previous month of June. I watched Furiosa, absolutely hated it, did not like it at all. It felt way too long. It was 3.5 hours. It felt just so chaotic with the story, and it felt like they were really trying to overdo it for effect, and it just wasn't working. I also watched Lone Survivor, which was pretty good. Then I watched The Bike Riders, which was amazing. I loved it. I rewatched Inside Out before the new Inside Out 2 movie came out. Loved that. I watched Rogue One for the 2nd or 3rd time, but now was the first time where I actually had context of Star Wars, so that was awesome. Then I watched Hitman, which I loved. It was so funny. It was such a good time. And then I watched Inside Out 2, which I actually watched twice, a couple days apart. Or no, maybe it was a week or 2 apart, actually. Loved it. Amazing. The anxiety representation in this movie is so insanely accurate that I felt anxious watching this movie. I mean, not in a good way necessarily, but just I could really feel I was in this person's mind because it was so relatable, and that was scary. But it was an amazing movie. They did such a good job. I'm so blown away. Then I watched Thelma, which was phenomenal. Seriously, probably the best movie that I've seen this year. I had such a good time. It's hilarious. It's amazing. It's about this woman whose identity is not identity, sorry. She's phone, she gets called on the phone and is phone scammed by a phone scammer, and she decides to go on a little adventure to get her money back. And no one believes in her. Everyone's trying to tell her to sit down and just let it go, and she's like, no, I can do this. And it's kind of has the ambiance of a spy movie, and there's a whole car chase scene, but it's not a car chase. She's in a mobility scooter, and it's so epic and funny and amazing. Highly recommend. Then I rewatched Princess Diaries 2 on a really bad day at the end of the month. And then I saw Pissing Out Cancer, which was Hank Green's comedy stand-up special, and it was hilarious. I also watched Make Some Noise and Game Changers on Dropout, which are 2 kind of comedy game shows. Loved them. And now, last of all, I'm planning on watching Never Stop Blowing Up, which is a Dimension 20 show on Dropout. Then Fly Me to the Moon, Dee Dee, Twisters, Wolverine versus Deadpool, Maxine, Babes, and another movie that the cover is so blurry I can't remember what it was. But yeah, thank you so much for watching and coming along. Let me know what you read and watched and what you're planning on reading and watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, bye!